Imagine standing at the edge of the world in 1911. Antarctica, an endless expanse of ice, wind, and frozen regret. No GPS, no high-tech jackets, just wool, guts, and questionable canned meat. If you think winter is bad now, picture surviving, where even your eyelashes freeze shut. Today, we're diving into why you, yes you, wouldn't last a single day on the most hostile continent during the most dangerous time to explore it. Spoiler. It's worse than you think. Let's see. How fast you'd freeze, starve, and possibly lose a few toes. You're setting sail from New Zealand, waving goodbye to civilization like a fool. Your ship? A wooden steam-powered vessel, strong enough to break your spirit, but not the ice. The Southern Ocean welcomes you with weeks of bone-rattling storms, waves taller than buildings. Salt spray freezes mid-air, coating the deck in ice thicker than your resolve. If you're lucky, you're only miserably cold. If you're unlucky, the ship's stuck in pack ice for weeks. No one's coming to save you. There's no radio, no distress signal. Just you, frostbite, and your crewmates slowly losing hope. Still excited? We haven't even landed yet. When you finally spot Antarctica, it's not a warm welcome. Towering cliffs of ice, hostile, indifferent. The sun is barely there, slumped on the horizon like it's given up. You scramble onto shore, feeling the snow crunch under your boots. Congratulations, you're now standing on the coldest, driest, windiest place on Earth, and it wants you dead. You brought supplies, ancient rations that would make a raccoon gag, hard-tack, pemmican, canned meat so salty you could mummify a cow with it. Fresh food, laughable. Vegetables, not a chance. Welcome to a diet designed by people who thought scurvy was an optional seasoning. Now comes shelter. There are no trees, no wood, no Home Depot. You build a hut out of whatever you brought. Planks, canvas, wool. Wind shrieks through every crack, like a chorus of banshees. It's less a shelter and more a wind tunnel with aspirations. Inside it's just as cold, but at least you're out of the wind's way. Your clothing? Wool. Layers of it. Sounds warm, right? Wrong. Wool absorbs moisture. Sweat freezes. Breath freezes. Tears freeze. Cotton kills. But so does everything else. You wrap yourself like a human burrito and hope the wind doesn't peel your skin off. Gore-Tex won't be invented for another 70 years. Temperature check. It's about -40 degrees Celsius. Same in Fahrenheit, for those wondering. Fun fact. At that temperature, exposed skin can freeze solid in minutes. Eyelashes, frozen. Nose hairs, frozen. Soul, frozen, and that's before the real weather shows up. Supplies are rationed like gold. You get a daily allowance of dried meat, stale biscuits, and melted snow. Water is precious. Melting snow takes hours and burns through fuel you barely have. Forget about showers. Hygiene is a myth you left behind with civilization. At this point, you may be thinking, okay, it's miserable. But how bad can it be? Bad. Worse than bad. Antarctica isn't just cold, it's vindictive. Winds can reach 200 miles per hour. Hurricane strength, but with ice shrapnel. Step outside without securing your tent? Goodbye, tent. Goodbye, you. And let's not forget the crevasses. Hidden cracks in the ice, often covered by a thin sheet of snow. One misstep, and you plummet into an icy grave. There's no rescue squad, no dramatic music, just silence and a hole where you used to be. Needless to say, your odds aren't great. In 1911, even the bravest explorers barely survived, and they trained for this. You? You're trying to vibe your way through the worst environment on Earth. Bold strategy. Let's see how that pans out. The cold isn't the only enemy. Your body is too busy not dying to fight off sickness. Colds turn to pneumonia. Cuts turn septic. Your skin cracks. Your lips bleed. You think you're tough because you don't need chapstick. Antarctica laughs in your face and peels it off. Let's talk transportation. Snowshoes? Primitive. Sledges? Heavy and clumsy. The dogs, if you have them, are smarter than you. They sense storms before you do. You pretend you're in charge, but when the wind picks up and visibility drops to zero, it's the dogs dragging you home, if you're lucky. If you're part of Robert Falcon Scott's team, sorry, you're relying on ponies. Ponies. In Antarctica. Spoiler, they don't last. The ponies die, the men drag the sledges themselves, and morale goes wherever the ponies went. Down. And if you're thinking, well, I'll just stay inside, good luck. The inside is barely warmer than the outside. There's a stove, sure, but fuel is scarce, and lighting it fills the hut with smoke. So it's a fun choice between freezing or asphyxiating. Pick your poison. Your daily routine becomes a series of increasingly bad decisions. Wake up shivering. Eat a slab of frozen meat. Step outside into a howling blizzard because you have to. Work until your fingers don't respond. Come back to a tent that smells like damp socks and despair. Sleep. Only if you can call it that. You curl up in a frozen sleeping bag that smells like wet dog and human misery. You dream of warmth. You wake up colder than when you fell asleep. Repeat until you start forgetting what warmth even feels like. Time plays tricks on you. Days blend into nights. The sun circles the sky without setting, or it disappears entirely for months. Your brain, craving a normal schedule, begins to unravel. Insomnia, hallucinations, depression. Antarctica offers a full mental breakdown package, free of charge. Your body starts betraying you next. Frostbite creeps in, killing fingers and toes. The pain is sharp at first, then numb. You won't even notice when parts of you start dying, until you try to move and realize, oh, that's not moving with you anymore. There's no help coming. No planes, no emergency radio, no Instagram post tagging #AntarcticSurvivor. If something goes wrong, and it will, it's up to you, your team, and a lot of luck. And honestly, luck ran out the moment you got on that ship. The environment isn't neutral. It's actively trying to destroy you. Storms last for days, burying your camp in snow. The cold eats away at your willpower. Every choice, from when to sleep to whether you go outside, could be your last. And the worst part? You signed up for this. There are no penguins waving hello, no polar bears, wrong pole. Just endless, howling wind, frozen wastelands, and a creeping realization. You're not the protagonist in a heroic survival story. You're the cautionary tale. Supplies dwindle faster than you think. You burn more calories just staying alive than you can replace with that salt brick food you brought. Hunger gnaws at you. You get weaker. Tasks that once took minutes, setting up camp, boiling, snow, now feel like impossible feats. Oh, and about the sun? When it does disappear for months on end, welcome to polar night. No sunrise, no sunset, just endless darkness and temperatures that plummet even lower. You lose all sense of time. Some lose all sense of reality. Frostbite claims what it can. Isolation claims the rest. Congratulations. You've made it. Not even one full day. Your joints ache. Your skin is blistering. Your hope is shrinking. Faster than your toes in frostbite. You haven't eaten enough. You haven't slept. The wind hasn't let up. This is survival at its most savage, and honestly, you're losing. The sad truth is, in 1911, even the best explorers were dancing on the knife's edge. Roald Amundsen made it. Robert Falcon Scott didn't. The line between triumph and tragedy, razor thin. You, with your modern-day comforts and Instagram nostalgia, wouldn't even get a footnote in history. Welcome to your new normal, an endless cycle of frozen monotony. If you thought surviving the landing was tough, try existing here. Morning routine? Wake up encased in a personal igloo, Your breath overnight has frosted the inside of your tent. Your boots are frozen solid. Your clothes stiff as boards. Getting dressed feels like climbing into icy armor. Breakfast is a generous helping of hardtack and tinned meat. Maybe a cup of lukewarm tea if you're lucky. No eggs, no bacon, no coffee. Just enough calories to remind you that life is suffering. Forget flavor. Here, survival is the only seasoning. Shelter is a cruel joke. Your hut is a cobbled-together shack made from timber hauled across the ice, wrapped in canvas if you're fancy. Inside, damp, freezing air. The floor is ice. The walls are ice. The ceiling occasionally drips because the warmth of your bodies melts the frost. Cozy, right? Forget privacy. You're sleeping shoulder to shoulder with grumpy, unwashed men who smell like a blend of seal fat, wet wool, and existential despair. There's no such thing as deodorant, showers, or clean clothes. Hygiene standards? Non-existent. If you want to bathe, you can melt some snow and splash your face. That's it. By now, your beard is crusted with frost. Your skin is raw and cracking. Your hands are permanently numb. You don't even bother to fully undress anymore. It's too cold. You sleep in your clothes, and by sleep, I mean you lie there shaking, half awake, praying for morning. Venturing outside is an ordeal. The weather dictates your schedule. Blizzards roll in without warning. Winds can snap tent poles like twigs. A simple supply run becomes a death march. You're bundled in layers so thick you move like a mummy, but somehow you're still freezing. Speaking of supplies, food is strictly rationed. You eat just enough to stave off death, not enough to stay healthy. Starvation looms in the background like an uninvited guest. You feel it in your gut, gnawing at you, turning every meal into a grim negotiation with your stomach. The days drag on. The sun might circle the horizon for 24 hours straight, refusing to set. Or it might vanish completely, leaving you in eternal night. Either way, time loses meaning. You mark days by meals, if you're lucky enough to have 3. Cabin fever isn't just a figure of speech here. It's a full-blown psychological assault. You're trapped in a freezing hut with the same handful of people, day after day after day. Every annoying habit is magnified. A loud chewer, a snorer. Prepare for a slow, simmering descent into madness. Arguments flare over the stupidest things. Who gets the last biscuit? Who left the tent flap open? Who snores loudest? Friendships fray. Fights break out. There's no escaping each other. Nowhere to storm off to. Just miles of white emptiness and the gnawing thought that you might not make it home. When weather allows, and it rarely does, you stumble outside to complete chores. Fetch ice to melt for water. Check the sledges. Make sure the tents haven't blown away. Each step in the snow feels like dragging your legs through cement. Your breath freezes in your scarf. Your eyebrows frost over. You start to wonder if toes are optional. Sunburn? Oh, it's real, even in this frozen nightmare. UV rays bounce off the snow and scorch your skin. Without sunglasses, which didn't exist yet, your eyes risk snow blindness. Basically, your corneas get sunburned. The cure? Sit in darkness and pray for forgiveness. Enjoy. Daily communication is a journal entry, maybe some letters you'll never mail. Radios aren't an option. Your words are for yourself and history. You wonder if anyone will ever read them. You wonder if anyone will ever find you. The vast, icy desert swallows hope like a black hole. As the weeks stretch on, your body betrays you. Despite all the layers, the cold finds ways to creep in. Fingers crack and bleed. Nails turn black. Your breath burns your lungs. Sleep deprivation leaves you jumpy and hollow-eyed. Every cough feels dangerous. Every sore could spiral into death. And then there's the boredom, the crushing, mind-numbing boredom. When you're not freezing or fighting for survival, you sit. You stare at the walls. You play endless games of cards with dog-eared decks. You reread the same 5 books until you hate them. You count the cracks in the ice. Small injuries escalate quickly. A stubbed toe turns black. A tiny blister festers. Without antibiotics, even minor wounds are dangerous. A cut finger could become an amputated hand. Or worse, a grave marker made from scavenged wood and rocks in the snow. When storms hit, and they always hit, you're trapped. Days, sometimes weeks, stuck inside the hut as the wind screams outside like a banshee. The walls groan, the floor shakes. You wrap yourself tighter in stiff blankets, counting the hours, waiting for the storm to break or the walls to collapse. Morale sinks with each passing day. Holidays are a joke. Christmas? Maybe a tin of plum pudding if someone was smart enough to bring it. New Year's, just another day of freezing misery. You try to pretend it's special, you sing songs, you laugh, but it's forced, hollow. Let's talk entertainment. Some teams brought musical instruments, a violin, a harmonica. If you're lucky, someone knows how to play. If you're unlucky, they don't. And now you get nightly screeches from a frostbitten violinist. Either way, it's better than the silence. Mostly, sanitation is a nightmare. There are no bathrooms, just a hole in the ice. If it's too cold, you improvise. And trust me, you don't want to know the details. Waste. Disposal. Walk it far enough from camp and pray the wind doesn't change directions mid-delivery. Appetite fades, but not hunger. Your body starts eating itself. Muscle disappears. Fat melts away. Faces hollow out. Eyes sink. Cheeks turn gaunt. You're a walking skeleton in frozen clothes, barely recognizable from the person who stepped onto the ice weeks or months ago. Conversations drift toward food. Endless, desperate fantasies about real meals. You talk about roast beef, fresh bread, butter. It's almost cruel. But there's nothing else to dream about. You're not planning your future. You're planning your last supper, one imaginary bite at a time. The cold gets inside your mind. You stop feeling your extremities. Your fingers are stiff, useless. Your toes are gone. You just don't know it yet. You lose time. Some men start mumbling to themselves. Others stare blankly, defeated. The line between survival and surrender gets thinner by the day, and still Antarctica offers no mercy. Each day feels heavier. Each task feels impossible. You start questioning why you came here in the first place. Fame, science, glory. None of it seems to matter when you're too cold to think and too weak to move. Team dynamics get uglier. Old. Friendships sour. Arguments flare, sometimes exploding into fistfights. Petty grievances turn into full-blown vendettas. Trust evaporates. Every man looks a little more suspicious. Every loud sigh or careless cough feels like a personal attack. It's not just the cold wearing you down, it's each other. Hope becomes dangerous, dreaming of home, of rescue, of warmth. It's painful. You force yourself not to think about family, about the life you left behind, about the fact that you may never see it again. Hope is a luxury you can't afford. By now, your hands are useless claws. Your breath rattles in your chest. Your heart struggles to keep you alive. And you wonder, as you lay there in your frozen bunk, if you'll wake up tomorrow, or if you'll just stay asleep. Daily life in Antarctica, 1911. Misery, isolation, starvation, and cold, wrapped in a layer of hopeless determination. There's no winning here, only surviving. And even that's temporary. Because in the end, Antarctica doesn't lose. You do. Congratulations, you've survived base camp. Time for a field trip. You're packing up to march into the interior of Antarctica, the land where hope freezes faster than your breath. Destination? Maybe the South Pole? Maybe nowhere. The only guarantee is that it'll be miserable, dangerous, and probably fatal. Welcome to the expedition. First up, your sledges. Big wooden beasts piled high with everything you need to not die. Tents, fuel, food, and scientific equipment no one will live long enough to use. No snowmobiles. No helicopters. You're hauling this monster yourself, like some prehistoric pack mule. Roald Amundsen had dogs. Robert Falcon Scott had ponies. And later, desperation. You have legs, and not much else. Every step sinks ankle-deep into snow. Every pull against the sled feels like dragging your own tombstone. The wind howls like a living thing, trying to shove you backwards. Navigation? Guesswork and prayers. Magnetic compasses are practically useless this close to the pole. No GPS, no satellite images. You have a sextant, some sketchy maps, and the fragile optimism that you won't walk in circles for weeks. Good luck with that. The cold isn't just a number anymore. It's a weapon. Temperatures drop to minus 60 degrees Celsius. Exposed skin freezes in less than a minute. Your breath forms icicles on your scarf. Your sweat freezes inside your clothes, turning them into stiff, icy prisons around your body. Food rations are pathetic. You burn 6,000 calories a day hauling sledges, but you're lucky if you eat half that. Starvation sets in early. Your body starts cannibalizing. Muscle to stay alive. You lose weight at an alarming rate. Your bones poke through thinning skin. Oh, and don't forget the fun part. Scurvy. Vitamin C is a luxury you don't have. Your gums swell and bleed. Teeth loosen. Wounds refuse to heal. You move slower. You hurt everywhere. Some men can't even stand without help. And you're still hundreds of miles from nowhere. Your eyes aren't safe either. Snow blindness, UV radiation burning your corneas strikes fast. One day you're squinting at the endless white. The next you're stumbling blind, eyes weeping milky tears. Sunglasses aren't common yet. Most solutions involve strips of fabric tied around your head. Very stylish. Sleep is a joke. You crawl into a frozen sleeping bag at night, still wearing every piece of clothing you own. The cold is so intense that even huddled together, you never get warm. You lie there shivering, listening to the wind rattle the tent, waiting for morning. Or death, whichever comes first. Accidents are inevitable. Someone stumbles into a hidden crevasse and vanishes. A sled overturns, scattering precious supplies into the snow. A blizzard strikes without warning, wiping out landmarks, erasing tracks. One wrong move and you're lost forever, swallowed by the ice. Teamwork becomes survival. You tie yourself to the others with rope, hoping that if one man falls, the rest can pull him back. Spoiler: sometimes they can't. Sometimes the rope just means you all fall together. Antarctica doesn't play favorites. The landscape is a featureless nightmare. Endless plains of snow, occasional mountains of ice, hidden chasms beneath deceptively smooth surfaces. Every step is a gamble. You could walk safely for hours, then fall into nothingness without warning. No second chances, no do-overs. The wind never stops. It screams and claws at you, turning every exposed inch of skin into raw, frozen meat. It carries snow that stings like tiny needles. Visibility drops to zero. You can't tell up from down, forward from backward. Men have wandered off in whiteouts and simply disappeared. Frostbite spreads silently. Fingers blacken. Toes die. Faces turn gray and waxy. The lucky ones notice in time. The unlucky ones don't. They just lose parts of themselves, one frozen piece at a time. You can't feel the damage until it's too late. Pain isn't the enemy. Numbness is. You stop talking. Words freeze in the air. Laughter is a memory. Every bit of energy goes into moving forward, one step at a time, dragging a heavy sled, cursing the day you ever agreed to this madness. You fantasize about warmth, about food, about home, but you don't dare dwell on it for long. Blisters form under your socks, rubbing raw against frozen boots. Skin peels away. Infection lurks in every wound. But stopping isn't an option. If you rest too long, the cold claims you. So you keep moving, half dead, fully miserable, clinging to the faint hope that the next camp is still standing. When you finally stop for the night, it's not relief. It's a battle. Setting up. Camp in a storm is agony. Frozen hands fumble with stiff ropes and brittle poles. The tent flaps like a wounded bird in the gale. Every second spent outside risks frostbite or worse. Inside the tent, there's no warmth, just slightly less wind. You choke down a meager meal, melt snow for water, and collapse into a shivering heap. Sleep is a luxury. Mostly, you just lie, there, exhausted, listening to the wind tear at the fabric and wondering if the tent will still be standing at dawn. Every mile you march, the environment chips away at you. Bodies weaken, minds unravel, men start seeing things. Phantom figures. In the snow, mirages of food and fire. Hallucinations become dangerous. One wrong move, one hallucinated step into the void, and it's over. Some men crack under the pressure. They grow quiet, withdrawn, refusing to eat or move. Others lash out, angry, desperate, terrified. There's no counseling, no timeouts, just survival. If you can't pull your weight, you're dead weight. And dead weight doesn't last long out here. Then comes the hunger madness. Weeks of starvation whittle away more than flesh. They gnaw at your mind. You dream of food so vividly you wake up chewing your glove. You eye your teammates not as friends, but as meat. No one talks about it. Everyone thinks it. Weather turns without warning. A whiteout traps you. Days vanish in a blur of snow and confusion. You can't tell if you've moved a mile or an inch. The compass spins. Supplies run low. Time distorts. Survival becomes an abstract idea, something you hope for but can't imagine. Roald Amundsen reached the South Pole with careful planning, dogs, and ruthless efficiency. Robert Falcon Scott reached it second and didn't make it home. You, on the other hand, wouldn't even make it halfway. Your frozen corpse would become another grim landmark on an already cursed landscape. Frostbite, starvation, exhaustion. Pick your poison. The lucky ones collapse quietly in the snow, slipping into hypothermic sleep they never wake from. The unlucky ones stay awake, feeling every moment of their slow unraveling. Antarctica doesn't kill fast, it kills thoroughly. There are no heroics here. No last-minute rescues, no miracle turnarounds. The ice claims what it wants. It's vast. It's patient. It doesn't care about your dreams or your suffering. It erases you without a second thought, leaving only your bones to tell the story. You think you're tough? Antarctica laughs. It's not a test you pass. It's a punishment you endure. The ice doesn't just want to kill you. It wants you to know exactly how small, how weak, and how hopeless you are before it finishes the job. So, how long would you last on an Antarctic expedition in 1911? Not long. Maybe a few days. Maybe a few miserable hours. Certainly not long enough to brag about it. This isn't survival of the fittest. It's survival of the luckiest. And trust me, you're not that lucky. Feeling unwell? Bad news. The Antarctic healthcare plan in 1911 is non-existent. No doctors, no antibiotics, no real medicine. If you get sick, injured, or frostbitten, you have two options: suffer or die. Actually, scratch that. You really only have one option. And it's not pretty. Let's start with frostbite. It sneaks up on you. First, there's a sharp sting, like needles. Then nothing. Numbness. The skin turns pale, then grey, then black. Tissue dies quietly. The only treatment is amputation. If you're lucky, someone on your team knows how to cut. And pray they're not squeamish. No anesthesia, no sterile tools, no antibiotics. Just a saw, a bottle of whiskey. If you're lucky, and grit your teeth courage. Infection is almost guaranteed. You can lose fingers, toes, even limbs. And if gangrene sets in before you can cut it off, well, let's just say you won't have to worry about frostbite much longer. Then, there's scurvy. Without vitamin C, your body turns against you. Gums swell and bleed. Teeth fall out. Old wounds reopen. Your bones weaken. You become a shuffling skeleton, held together by sheer stubbornness and salted meat. There are no oranges, no lemons, no magical cure. Just rot, slow and inevitable. Imagine losing your sight to snow blindness. The sun's glare reflects off the endless white and fries your corneas. At first, it's just irritation, then agony, then blindness. No sunglasses, no eye drops, just bandages and darkness. If you're lucky, it heals. If not, welcome to permanent blindness. Hope you remember the way home. Cuts and scrapes are minor annoyances back home. Here, they're death sentences. Without antibiotics, even the smallest wound can get infected. Skin reddens, swells, bursts open. Fever sets in. Your body tries to fight back, but it's already losing the war to cold and malnutrition. You can't eat properly either. Your teeth, if you still have them, are loose and painful. Swallowing is an ordeal. Your body is so starved for nutrients that it starts digesting muscle tissue. You lose strength, coordination, balance. Tasks like pitching a tent or hauling a sled become monumental challenges. Dehydration is another hidden killer. Melting snow for water is tedious and fuel-consuming, so you drink less. But your body doesn't care about the logistics. It just needs water. Without it, you dry out from the inside. Your blood thickens, your organs strain, headaches become blinding, confusion sets in. Speaking of confusion, let's talk hypothermia. As your body temperature drops, weird things start to happen. You feel hot, so you strip off your clothes. It's called paradoxical undressing, and it's a classic symptom of terminal hypothermia. After that, your muscles stiffen, your heart slows, and you slip quietly into the cold forever. Mental health. Forget it. No therapy. No morale officers. Just endless cold, hunger, and fear. Depression is common. So is paranoia. Some men break down completely, refusing to move, refusing to eat, speaking nonsense. Others wander off into the snow, never to be seen again. Insomnia stalks you too. Try sleeping while your body shivers uncontrollably, while hunger gnaws at your gut, while the wind batters your flimsy shelter. Nightmares become more vivid. Waking and dreaming blur. You wake up exhausted, only to face another day of pain and slow deterioration. Let's not forget malnutrition's greatest hits: muscle wasting, brittle bones, weakened immune system. You're a walking disaster. A minor cold can become pneumonia. A twisted ankle can lead to a fatal infection. Every part of you is one stubbed toe away from collapse. Even the healthy ones aren't safe. Physical exhaustion grinds down the strongest. Blisters turn into open sores. Fingernails blacken and fall off. Skin peels away. Your body can't heal. It can only delay the inevitable. Survival becomes a game of endurance, not strength. And no matter how tough you are, Antarctica doesn't care. It doesn't reward toughness. It punishes hubris. You're not fighting an opponent. You're trying to stay alive in an environment that sees you as just another frozen lump of meat. You're not special. You're just next. Morale? It shatters. Watching teammates die slowly does that. One by one, men shrink into shadows of themselves. They stop talking. They stop eating. They stop hoping. You dig shallow graves in the ice and move on, because you have no choice. Grief is a luxury. Survival is mandatory. Oh, and if you think injuries slow things down, think again. Expeditions can't afford to carry the weak. If you can't walk, you're left behind. If you can't pull your weight, you're dead weight. The harsh math of survival doesn't allow for sentimentality. The worst part? There's no end in sight. No rescue helicopters. No medical evacuations. No warm hospitals waiting at the finish line. Just more ice, more cold, and the slow realization that no matter how hard you fight, you might not make it home. Imagine watching a teammate lose fingers to frostbite. One by one, they blacken and fall off like burnt twigs. There's nothing you can do. No splints, no doctors. Just wrap the stumps in rags, give them a pat on the back, and hope they don't get infected. Spoiler: they will. Sometimes the weather is so bad you can't even bury the dead. Bodies are left outside, frozen solid, wrapped in canvas or shoved into crevasses. There's no ceremony, no closure, just the grim necessity of survival and the quiet hope that you'll be luckier than they were. You start talking to yourself, or to the ice, or to the dead. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's madness. Maybe it's just the brain's last desperate trick to cling to reality. Either way, it doesn't matter. The ice listens. It just doesn't answer. The injuries pile up. The sickness spreads. You ration medicine that barely works. A few bandages, a bit of antiseptic, maybe some aspirin. It's a joke. The best doctor in Antarctica is the ice itself. It numbs the pain until you can't feel anything at all. Survivor's guilt creeps in. Every time someone dies, you're left wondering, why not me? Why them? It gnaws at you worse than the cold, worse than hunger. It festers. You wear it like a second skin, heavy and bitter. A reminder that survival isn't noble. It's random. Even if you survive the expedition, you don't come back whole. Some lose fingers. Some lose toes. Some lose their sanity. Others lose something harder to explain. The part of them that believed they could win against Antarctica. They leave it behind, buried under miles of ice and regret. And the worst medical nightmare of all? Hope. Hope keeps you crawling forward, even when you know the odds. Hope convinces you that the next sunrise will bring rescue. Hope lets you believe. You're the exception. But Antarctica doesn't deal in hope. It deals in silence. You can wrap the wounds. You can set broken bones. You can patch frostbitten skin. But you can't fix the cold eating into your soul. And out here, that's the real killer. The creeping realization that you're not battling Antarctica. You're battling yourself. And you're losing. So if you thought you could tough it out, no problem. Think again. In 1911, a minor injury was a death sentence. A cough could mean the end, and the ice was always waiting. You're not surviving. You're delaying. Barely. Let's be honest. You were doomed the moment you stepped off the ship. But let's humor the idea that you might actually survive. What are the odds? Slim, microscopic, laughable. Antarctica wasn't designed for human life. It was designed to remind humans that nature always wins. Every step you take is a gamble. Crevasses lurk under the snow, invisible and lethal. One misplaced foot, and you're falling. Into darkness, into freezing air, into a grave no one will ever find. No second chances, no dramatic rescues, just a cold, silent drop. The wind doesn't just bite, it devours. It strips away body heat faster than you can produce it. Even bundled in layers, you're fighting a losing battle. Every exposed inch of skin risks frostbite. Every breath you take freezes in your lungs. The cold isn't an obstacle. It's a predator. Navigation? You might as well flip a coin. Landmarks are scarce. Whiteouts erase everything. The ground, the sky, even the sun. Compasses don't work near the pole. Sextants are useless when the sky's hidden. You walk in circles, burning precious energy, slowly, inevitably, getting lost. Hunger isn't just a gnawing pain anymore. It's a monster. You dream about food. You hallucinate meals. Your body, desperate for fuel, eats itself. Muscle, first then fat. You grow weaker, slower, dumber. Your brain runs on fumes and bad decisions pile up fast. Psychologically, you're a wreck. Isolation chips away at sanity. The endless white, the howling wind, the knowledge that you are entirely, cosmically alone. It breaks you. Some men wander off into the snow, chasing hallucinations. Others simply sit down and refuse to get up. The darkness doesn't help. During the polar night, the sun vanishes for months. No sunrise, no sunset, just endless, suffocating black. Depression hits like a hammer. Hope fades. Without light, time blurs. You forget days, weeks, even months. You forget why you're fighting to survive at all. Supplies dwindle. Fuel runs out. Food spoils. You ration until there's nothing left to ration. Your only choice is to turn back. A journey just as deadly as the one that got you here. Weak, sick, starving, you drag yourself across the ice, praying you remembered the way. Some teams, like Scott's, made it to the pole and still didn't survive. They collapsed on the way back, too weak to continue, trapped by a storm just a few miles from safety. A brutal, tragic reminder that reaching the goal isn't the hard part. Coming home is. If the cold doesn't kill you, starvation will. If starvation doesn't kill you, frostbite will. If frostbite doesn't kill you, a fall will. If none of that gets you, time will. Because in Antarctica, time isn't measured in hours. It's measured in how long you can keep fighting the inevitable. You might think teamwork saves you. Sometimes, sure. But sometimes, it breaks you. When supplies run low and death looms large, desperation changes people. Men you trusted might hoard food, sabotage sledges, abandon the sick. Antarctica doesn't breed loyalty. It breeds survival, at any cost. Your body gives up before your mind does. Muscle cramps, joints lock, breathing turns shallow, moving feels like dragging a boulder uphill. You want to keep going, but your body disagrees. It demands you stop. It whispers that it would be so much easier to just lie down. And the scariest part? Some do. They sit down in the snow, close their eyes, and let the cold carry them away. No panic, no struggle, just a slow, sleepy surrender. It doesn't feel like dying. It feels like rest. That's the trap. Antarctica makes dying feel easy. For those who fight on, there's no guarantee of rescue. In 1911, no radios, no emergency flares, no backup plan. If you get into trouble, and you will, no one's coming. The ice is your only companion. It doesn't judge. It doesn't help. It just waits. Even if you somehow make it back to base camp, it's not over. You're starving, frostbitten, sick, scarred. Some die hours after returning, too broken to recover. Others live but never heal. They carry Antarctica home with them, buried deep where no one else can see it. The worst survivors, the ones who think they can return to normal life. They sit by fireplaces and stare into the flames, remembering a different kind of cold. They attend dinners and smile politely, wondering why no meal tastes as good as the memory of a single bite of seal meat. They were never the same. Neither would you be. Antarctica takes more than fingers and toes. It takes your illusions, your bravado, your belief that you can conquer anything if you just try hard enough. It shows you how small you really are. The truth? You wouldn't last a day, not in 1911, not without gear, knowledge, and a healthy dose of luck. Antarctica isn't a challenge to be conquered. It's a reality to be endured, briefly, before. It claims you, like it claims everything that lingers too long. This isn't about strength or willpower. It's about survival. Brutal, unforgiving, random survival. The ice doesn't care how brave you are. It doesn't care how prepared you feel. It has all the time in the world. You don't. You don't beat Antarctica. You survive it. If you're lucky, you endure it. If you're tougher than you ever thought possible. And if you're not, you vanish. A footnote. A frozen skeleton under 100 years of snow, forgotten by history but not by the ice. So here's the brutal math. Out of the dozens who dared Antarctica in 1911, many didn't come back. Some froze, some starved, some simply vanished. And those were trained explorers, seasoned sailors, hardened men who knew what suffering was, and even they lost. You, with your heated blankets and climate-controlled homes, wouldn't last a day. You'd step off the ship, feel the first bite of the wind, and realize, too late, that no amount of grit can save you from a place designed to kill. Antarctica isn't a villain. It's a force of nature. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't even notice you. It's indifferent, vast, eternal. Your life, your death, all the same to the ice. It won't even remember you were there. If you ever think about braving Antarctica, remember, you're not an adventurer. You're not a survivor. You're not even a statistic yet. You're just another fool the ice is waiting to swallow. And trust me, it's patient. So why did they go? Why did men like Amundsen and Scott risk everything for a barren wasteland? Fame, glory, science? Maybe. But maybe it was something simpler. A need to stand at the edge of the world and face the void. In the end, Antarctica didn't care about their reasons. It doesn't care about yours. The only thing Antarctica offers is silence. Vast, cold, merciless silence. And if you're not prepared, that silence is the last thing you'll ever hear. You wouldn't last a day. Not even close. You'd vanish into the endless white, forgotten, frozen, a lesson carved in ice. Nature doesn't care who you are. It just is. And in Antarctica, is deadly enough. So next time you complain about winter, remember, you're not in Antarctica in 1911, dragging a sled across a frozen wasteland, fighting frostbite, starvation, and complete existential collapse. If you enjoyed this icy reality check, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into places and times you definitely wouldn't survive. Stay warm out there. And maybe, just maybe, thank your radiator tonight. Trust me, it's doing more for you than you realize.